Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dragon podcast for the week of July 17th. I'm Dennis Franklin, coach of the Under Fives, and joining us today for a little deckside chat will be Veronica Elliott and Ari Thompson, both of the Under Five Druids. So, looking forward to have a fun conversation with them. Also, we've got an alumni chat, and that was with Trina Hodges. She is a former senior women's player. She's a current junior club sponsor and also a rugby parent, as one of her kids just got involved in rugby this year. So looking forward to those conversations and sharing them with the club. First up, though, we'll get to some quick club news and updates. Starting off, just a registration reminder for everyone. If you are looking to play and looking to participate, make sure you get registered. Visit the club website, druidsrfc.com, for more information on registration. Also, another reminder, we've got that 50-50 going on. Get your tickets. Sales go until August 18th with the draw date of August 20th. So that number's starting to run up a little bit now. So yeah, get your 50-50 tickets. Is a great way to support the club and also maybe get some benefit for yourself too at the same time. So and then lastly, just want to kind of update the juniors, parents and guardians that Friday nights, just as a reminder, bring your bottles to the club. We're looking to fundraise a little bit by club members and junior players bringing their bottles. You just leave the bags in front of the change rooms and they'll get picked up and taken in to help support the club through some fundraising that way. All right, I want to get to a few shout outs just before we get into the interviews. Definitely want to thank the facilities team, Larry, Jack, Alan, Bob, all the work over the past year looking after the fields and facilities, even when rugby wasn't being played. A lot to do with not exactly the reward we want to see of rugby going on the field at the same time, but you kept them in great shape and good for us to go this year. And also just even over the winter this past year, the added element of cross-country ski tracks being laid out for people within the club to come and enjoy, and some of our neighbors as well too. It's an awesome thing to have, and just grateful that you guys were able to do that this past year and people got to get out and cross country ski. Also, another shout out to Chris Franklin. Thank you for supporting some fundraising for the club with the chocolate fundraiser. I don't know if you can get much better than that. Fundraising chocolates all sounds good. So thanks, Chris, for helping out and coordinating that. We'll have more shout outs week by week, a few for some sponsors, volunteers, all that kind of stuff, just to show our appreciation within the club for everyone and the hard work they do. But yeah, let's get to some of those conversations. First up, we'll have Ari and Veronica. All right, welcome everyone. With me, I have got Ari Thompson, star player for the Under 5 Druids. Ari, hi.
Hi.
Oh, you can be a bit louder than that, right, Ari?
Hi.
Yeah, how are you doing?
Good.
He's doing good. He's got his hair all slicked. Looks a lot better than the hair I've got. Yeah? What do you think?
Good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So, Ari, tell me, what's your favorite part about rugby?
Playing rugby.
Playing rugby?
Yeah.
Yeah? Do you like playing with your older brother, Porter?
Yeah.
Yeah? This just in, Ari likes playing rugby with his older brother, Porter. You two seem to have good rapport out on the field.
Yeah.
Yeah? You think so? That's good. And how old are you, Ari? You're 3. That's right. Ari's 3 and he's a lean, mean rugby machine, right? Yeah. So, do you like passing?
Yeah.
Yeah? What about kicking?
I like
Sorry, we can't hear you, Ari. You got to say it a bit louder.
that too. I like that too.
You like that too? Awesome. Well, that's good. And did your dad once upon a time play rugby?
Yeah.
Yeah? Was he good?
Yes.
Yeah? How do you know?
Good.
You just know?
Yeah.
Yeah? Right on. And what does your grandpa do at the rugby club? Does he help paint the lines
Yeah.
and take care of the fields?
Yeah.
Yeah? And what's grandpa's name?
Bomb.
Yeah. Right on. All right. Well, everyone, this is Ari Thompson signing off. And Ari, what we're going to do is we're just going to do a Druids on 3, okay? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Druids. Right? Right on. All right, thanks, Ari, for joining us, buddy. Say bye.
Bye. Oh.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I have got with me Veronica Elliott joining us, star player of under 5s. She says she's the fastest on the team. Is that right, Veronica? Yeah, she says she's the fastest. Doesn't take after her dad in that regard, right?
Nope.
No? Good. All right, so Veronica, do you like rugby? Yes?
Yeah.
What's...
I love running so fast. And the first time I played rugby, I love chasing Coach Dylan.
Yeah.
Why did we?
You like rugby, don't you? You coming out to it, playing around?
Yeah, and I'm one who's just repeating my voice.
Yeah, you just need to talk into the microphone and it's all good.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're good.
How am I do that? How does it get out?
It'll get the sound, so we're okay there. Anyways, Veronica, I heard a little rumor that you said one of your coaches is bossy. Is that true?
You aren't.
And that's me. How am I the bossy coach?
Because you're silly.
Because I'm silly. Okay.
Yeah.
What makes me silly then as a coach?
Because you make us do toilet tag and it's so funny.
Oh yeah, we do play toilet tag. That is a fun game though. Yeah.
I always get going sometimes.
You giggle playing toilet tag?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a funny game, and we enjoy it. So, and you recently went to the mountains, didn't you? And what was that like?
I forgot to play rugby because I forgot my rugby bag at home.
She did have a rugby ball to go to the mountains, but she forgot it at home. But
The one I brought the rugby ball first.
it's okay though, because you got to play rugby the week after at our practice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what else do you like about rugby? Do you like playing with Coach Dylan and Coach Evan?
Who's Coach Evan?
He's one of the new coaches.
Why?
Why? Just because we like the extra help. It's always good.
If you have sometimes trouble, you need his help.
Yeah, sometimes for sure. Okay, Veronica, what is your favorite part about passing in rugby?
Try time.
Oh, she likes try time. So for those who don't know, under 5s know that when we say try time, you go score a try, touch the ball down, and you say what?
Try time.
That's right.
And
Druids.
And also, you got Judy, and that's so funny.
Yeah, the Druids chant. So we always do a Druids chant at the end of training too, and the under 5s really like that. So
Yeah, that's so funny.
yeah.
I sometimes giggle.
Yeah, and Veronica also decided to bring this today. It is some artwork from the preschool or daycare.
I'm
Daycare.
not in daycare anymore.
Oh.
I'm actually not in school.
Yeah, daycare. So she drew this today. So Veronica, what did you draw here?
I drew it. I drew it breathing fire.
You drew a breathing fire. Is it a dragon breathing fire? Oh, kind of like the Druids. I like that.
This.
Yeah, I like that dragon. So everyone can see it right there. So anyways, Veronica, this is the last question and it's the most important one. Back in the day, who do you think was the better rugby player? Your dad or me? You. Okay, that's the best answer I've seen to date. Anyways, thank you, Veronica, for joining. We appreciate you coming out to this. Bye. All right, this week for Alumni Chat, I've got Trina Hodges with us today. Trina played with the Druids in the 90s and 2000s a bit, and for the senior women's program. So she's also currently a sponsor with the club. And yeah, Trina, thanks for coming on and joining the podcast.
Yeah, this is fun. Thanks for asking me.
Right on. Well, let's get right into it. How did you get started in rugby? Tell us a little bit about your rugby roots, I guess.
So I guess I went to Beth AC for high school. And actually, it was a really good friend of mine, Rochelle Hudson, who's like, hey, we should try out for rugby. I'm like, what is rugby? And so she dragged me out to the tryouts, and before I knew it, I was playing rugby. So it was through high school that got me connected with rugby. And then obviously I loved it. And then I joined the Druids after that.
Perfect. So when you started in high school, what position did you start off in?
Always been prop from day one. So I've always been in a position. And I caught on really quickly. I wasn't really fast and still really good, but still really strong. So it was like a good fit for me.
Perfect. So what was that first scrum experience like then? Because the front row, that's a key position there.
Well, at first you don't really know what you're doing. So you're kind of in there thinking, am I doing this right? Actually, my first scrum was actually in Victoria because Beth Facey had a program that you would go and do like a bit of training, and we got to fly to Victoria. So then we played games in BC. So that was my first. And I remember doing my first scrums and literally not knowing what I was doing and like running, following the ball, and everybody just follow the ball. And they were trying to figure it out. But that was the best way to learn, because you kind of learn best by playing, I find. Like I even told Jack, my son, I'm like, you'll learn the game by playing the game. It's just a lot easier than understanding it when you're just kind of going up against nobody. So
that's so true. It's something I tell different people that I've coached along the way, or just people getting started in rugby, is that you honestly need to play it to kind of learn it. And as you play, you start watching more of it on TV or whatever, and then you just continue to pick up the game, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
That was the best. That was a really fun experience. I was always so grateful. And then obviously from there, then you keep going. And yeah, scrums actually were always in high school a little bit easier. It was like when I got into club rugby, that's when my real experience of scrums really came in.
So let's get into that. You went from high school into club rugby. Was it with the Druids right away, or?
Actually, honestly, it was, I first went to LTs and I played one game with them, but they didn't have, well, they're a great club, but at the time they didn't have a coach that showed up to the game. And so I didn't love that. So then I went, and it was Heather Parrish. She was like, come to try the Druids, come to try the Druids. So I went to the Druids, and it was awesome. There was coaches there. Heather was so good at, like, she just training and making you feel comfortable. And I was like, yeah, this is where I need to be. And that's history.
So yeah, so you got started with the Druids, and then was it a bit of the junior program to start off, or straight into seniors?
It wasn't really a junior program when I was there. So I guess my first few years would have been like 97, 98.
Okay. Yeah.
So there wasn't. So it was right into just Div 1 or Div 2. So you played with the seniors, and then you would literally practice and figure out which team you'd be playing with based on your practices. Obviously, as a young, I started a little bit Div 2, but being a prop and there's not a lot of really good at that position, I tend to play 2 games or I would always show up to both games, or I would always go in a game because I was quite a fit prop, so I could play the game pretty hard.
Yeah, right on. So biggest difference from going from high school into club rugby at that point in time, what would you say it was?
Oh, it would be the speed, the hitting. Just you're playing with a lot of senior players who played quite a bit, so there's no mercy. There's no mistakes. You if you make a mistake, you're going to get hurt a little bit. So I remember my first couple years, I did get a couple injuries, but it was just learning the game a little bit.
Yeah, and so you got into the club rugby. You played a bit of Div 1 and Div 2, and so why don't you just talk about was there any specific team you played on that kind of stood out in terms of success on the field, or just like a team full of like good club culture?
I joined where I felt like I was very lucky. I joined an incredible culture with the teams. Like, I played with the Christy Thompson, who played for Canada. I played with Stacey Gallagher. I got to play with that group. And so they were already very good at what they did. And so then I basically was taken under their wings and learned and played with them. So very competitive teams. Like, one thing I always told my son, Jack, the difference between training as a Druid on the field, when you go to training, you never trained half-assed because you were training to try to make that first roster for Div 1. So basically Div 1 and Div 2 pretty much trained together, and then the coaches would pick the Div 1 team and then pick the Div 2 team. So if you wanted to make that Div 1 or make sure that you were a sub, you trained hard. You never. So I loved that because that was my vibe. I'm like, train hard, work hard, and and hopefully you'll be making that Div 1 team. So I still to this day love that kind of culture, right? Because then everybody was still inclusive and you worked hard, but you earned your position based on how hard you practiced. I don't know if the way it is or not.
Well, and training that way, like it only just makes everyone better at the same time, right?
Yeah, and coaches were hard. Like, you know, you go through all the coaches you had, they worked you hard, but I loved that. And I also loved the culture of like, you know, the Div 1 men's coaches, some of them would come out and help with the scrums. So it wasn't like, oh, you know, it was inclusive. I always said this, what I loved is that the clubhouse was as good as all the teams. If all the teams were winning, all the teams were doing really well. It wasn't just about Div 1, or it was always Div 1, Div 2, Div 3. It was like about the whole clubhouse doing really well. And I still love that because I find in other sports, sometimes it's just about their Div 1 team. But I loved that it didn't matter. They wanted all the teams to win. And we'd go and watch everybody. So when our game was done, you'd go watch the Div 2 women's. Or if the Div 2 women's would come watch the Div 1s and then play their game, we'd stay and really root each other on.
Yeah, or in your case, you had your boots ready for both games.
Or that. You play 2 games, so it's like I'll play on a Wednesday and then go to Calgary and play on a Saturday.
Yeah, no, that's definitely something that I came to appreciate over all the years is exactly what you're talking about, where, you know, you'd have your game with, if you were playing thirds, you were playing on a Friday night. If you were playing seconds, you were Saturday afternoon, early game, and then ones was the later game in the afternoon or whatever. And everyone would kind of stick around and watch each other and support each other. And, you know, having that extra team almost there, I guess, on the sideline, rooting on, really got everyone pumped up, and it was always something to look forward to as well too. So
yeah, we're excited for the whole club, right? So that was cool. I still love that. You know, looking back, you know, if we were having problems with our scrums, well, then maybe some of the guys, men's coaches, would come over and work with it, you know, with us, or vice versa.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you mentioned a few names there, but why don't you talk about some of the mentors that you kind of had or experienced through the club that helped you succeed as a player?
Yeah, I think Heather would have been, well, she coached me in high school. And so then she mentored me quite a bit with the Druids, but she also, I think, was our captain, if I'm correct or not. So she would have been probably one of my first, but then the Stacy's, because, you know, you're in the scrum with Stacy and she's always protecting you. Stacy, a lot of them, you know, Christy, I learned so much from Christy. There was so many. Well, Amy Rice and I always propped quite a bit together. And then there was Misty. I don't know if you guys remember Misty as a prop, and now she's still, I think she does a lot of jiu-jitsu now. She was an incredible person to really learn that front row with. But those would be some of the people who really stand out. And then I had the great, like with Natalie and all them, as we just kind of kept forming, and it was great. I think when I joined, the programs for high schools were really good. So you guys, like, Druids did a really good job of bringing a lot of good players to our clubhouse.
Yeah, that's part of the success for a number of years really stemmed from the junior program development as that kind of evolved. Mm-hmm. And sort of that formation of Outlaws into Druids and how that kind of merged those two kind of clubs together, I guess. And it really ended up becoming a feeder into the seniors program. And so really helped make a difference with that.
It did. So yeah, we got to play like with some really incredible players over the years. And it was just a really fun team. Like pretty much my friends who weren't my rugby friends, I would pretty much tell them in the summer, okay, I'll see you when the summer's over, because that was my family. That was my world. Or you got to join me in my world, which they did. And now to this day, like, I don't play rugby anymore, but I picked up other sports, and now like Stacy and Allison play on my ball hockey team. So we just started playing ball hockey a few years ago. So now that's been really cool too, is taking and doing different sports with some of these people.
Yeah, it's funny how those relationships forged in one sport carry over onto others. And I know a lot of our like teams or club teams that we've had at different times have put in, you know, indoor soccer teams or hockey teams or stuff like that, just through the rugby connection. So was there any of that while you were playing, or is that more so after playing?
It's more after. I think, retired from playing rugby a little bit because my career started to really take off. And rugby is one of those careers that you kind of have to do full time. You can't do it part time. Injuries and fitness, right? So then I decided to just stop playing, and then I did some biking on my own and stuff. And then obviously kids came along and more career. But just a few years ago, I connected to playing ball hockey again through Rochelle, my friend Rochelle. And then I decided to learn how to play ice hockey, which is crazy because I didn't even know how to skate. But ball hockey reconnected me with a lot of the players. So two who play with me full time is Stacy and Allison, play full time on my team right now. So that's been really fun. And throughout we had like Natalie's played, Melissa Sexauer's played on it, Kusi's played, but those two are like diehards. They come to every game.
So does that rugby mentality carry over a bit on the ball hockey surface, or what?
So yeah, we're definitely use our body. We get told because they know we're a new team, so a lot of times the refs are really good to us. They're like, you can't drop your shoulder, like we're in the board. So yes, Stacy like sometimes like Stacy, you can't do that, But that's why I think they like us on our team because we're not afraid to go into the corners. We're not afraid to use our body. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's happened in a few cases in our club for different teams, but yeah. So yeah, you kind of mentioned your career a bit there. So obviously within your career and taking things forward and supporting the club, why don't you talk about that a little bit? So you're helping sponsor the club.
Yeah.
Let's hear about it.
Yeah. So obviously my son has now joined the club, which is like amazing. And I've been begging him to want to play rugby for many years. And this was the year that he decided to try it, and he's loving it. So I really love to try to support things that were involved. Megan, my business partner, and I, we're realtors in Strathcona County. We always like to sponsor sports, like, because I love sports and I think sports are really important. So we do different programs. We've done Everybody Gets to Play. And then this opportunity came to sponsor the junior program. And Stacy gave me the idea to do the shirts. And I was like, yes, that's like so perfect for what we'd love to do. So yeah, I'm happy to do it. Megan was super on board with it. She knows how passionate I am about rugby. So she knew if I could get back in that world, I would take that opportunity. And so, yeah, we're really happy to do that.
Yeah. And on behalf of the club, we really appreciate it, obviously. So thanks to you and Megan for that support. It's awesome to see.
Absolutely. And it's interesting. Like I look back at my career. So this is my 20th year as a realtor. But I look back at some of my first sales, like it was people in the clubhouse. Like I was still playing real rugby when I became a realtor. So I look at like Joe Johnson, like he was one of my first clients. Like, so I look back that like a lot of the Druids helped me build my career. So that's been, obviously, I'm extremely grateful. And that's kind of what got me back into the club as I ran into Joe, and Joe's like, you should get Jack to play. I'm like, I should get Jack to play. So it's just, again, full circle.
So yeah, let's get into the different aspect of rugby that you're also seeing now is rugby as a parent. So what's that like going from player to parent?
Oh my goodness. I at first thought that I'd be a little bit more nervous, be able to tackling and stuff, but I'm not, because I know that feeling out on that field. So I'm just purely excited. I was nervous he wouldn't like it, but of course, as soon as he got on, and obviously Child's a really good coach and really keeps the boys moving, and he helps them catch on really quickly. He's absolutely loving it. So watching it is, well, they haven't started tackling yet. I think they're going to start next week. So it might be a different story, but I'm loving it. He's definitely the opposite position of me. Like he's a fullback and I was a prop. So I joke. So I'm like, okay, as a forward, when you drop the ball as a back, I'm telling you, we get frustrated because that's your only job is to catch that ball and run. So we don't have to do another scrum, but yeah, I'm loving watching it. And I love that he's catching on, and I can tell he's going to love the culture too. So it makes me really happy.
So I've got to stand up for a fellow back, and there's more to it than just catching and running. But I'm in between because I was the scrum half, right? So I appreciate everything the forwards did and all the backs did. So kind of like Switzerland on the pitch, I guess.
I know. I joke because like it is funny that we're the opposite positions. So, but it'll be fun.
Yeah.
And as a parent, it's just obviously my son plays different sports, and this sport is just so inclusive. So all the parents seem really great, and it's about like getting to know the families. It's definitely, there's a competitive aspect. Of course, we want our team to win, but it's also like, I don't know, there's a different energy, I guess is the right word, out there on the sidelines versus other sports that, it's just the competitiveness, it's different.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing that a lot of people really appreciate about rugby is there is that competitive aspect, but yeah, there's a different vibe that goes with it too, and just how two teams appreciate each other on and off the field in different ways. But yeah,
it's the after the game, and obviously there are little times that everybody does, but like for me, what I loved was like you went and played hard, but after the game, you sat around, you had a beer with your teammates, the other team. It was also the culture that was so kept you there, right? So if you had that injury, you were going to get that injury going and fix it because you wanted to get back out there, not just so much of the sport, but the culture and the family feel of that whole world.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's why don't we do some rapid fire questions? So I'll put you on the spot a little bit with that.
Kind of stuff, by the way. So
yeah.
Pass.
Well, you'll be fine. So why don't we start off with your favorite part about being a prop?
I think I liked rucking a lot, like that, hitting and rucking, getting over the ball. Scrums, I guess if I wasn't doing 45 in a game, then sure, but definitely just like that part, hitting.
Okay, and what teams did you cheer for internationally?
Always just Canada. I'm a hardcore, love my country kind of person.
There you go. That's always good. Who was your fastest teammate you ever played with?
Probably Christy.
Toughest teammate?
Toughest? Oh gosh, Kiwi or Stacy, probably.
Yeah.
Those would be the two.
Perfect.
Yeah. Those two.
All right. Game is on the line. You get the ball and you have a chance at a drop goal. Do you take it?
Oh no. I think in my whole career, maybe, no.
So you just go into contact and wait for someone else then?
Yep.
Perfect. Okay, you've got offense or defense. What do you like better?
Oh, interesting. Probably offense. Yeah.
Okay.
That feeling of moving forward constantly is a really good feel, where you keep getting rucking and then it goes out the back, so then it goes forward. Yeah,
You may have already touched on this, but basically, what's the one thing a back could do that could really get you mad?
If it's already been a hot day and I've scrummed probably a million times and they knock it forward, probably that would drive me crazy. Yes.
If you could be any other position, what would it have been?
Interesting. I've always loved the prop because I always got to play, because it was a position nobody really wanted to take on. Maybe 8-man. I don't know. Nobody's ever asked me that. I've never thought of that question. Maybe hooker. Could be fun to hook the ball back. I don't know. Not second row. I wouldn't want to do second row. I don't know. Pass. I don't know. I never thought of that. Let me get back to what I see on the field with that one.
All right. If you were to go back and play today, would you want to play full contact or touch?
Oh, full contact.
There you go. We're on opposite ends of that spectrum.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think I could.
However, I do have some aches and pains, and I'm like, oh, that little arthritis in my neck is probably from being a prop, and my wrists are always, I have to wear wrist guards at the gym from lifting so much. Like my wrists are a little bit sore nowadays.
Yeah.
But,
all right, and we'll finish off with what was your favorite part of the game?
Oh, well, I love the whole. Honestly, I liked the fitness of it. Like I liked feeling fit. I liked that feeling of like you play 40-minute halves. I liked how many people are on the field. I think that's really fun. That's a big team to play with. That's really, and I like that. I like the whole vibe of the game, I guess. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, definitely appreciate you coming on to do our podcast this year, and welcome back to the club as a parent. Thank you again for helping sponsor this year. The club really appreciates it, and those under 5, 7s, and 9s, I know we're going to really like those jerseys. So definitely grateful to yourself and Megan for that. And so is there anything you want to kind of close off in saying?
No, I'm just really happy to be back there. I've been trying to get back out there with my son to play. I knew he would love it if I got him out there. I tried to get my niece out there, but never did. Yeah, just happy to be out there. I'm really excited to see everybody.
Perfect. Well, we're really happy to have you back, and look forward to seeing you around the club more.
Sounds good. Hey, chat soon.
Perfect. Yeah, thanks.
Bye.